Okay, good morning, everybody. Yes. So, cat's out of the bag. Great news, Boston together. Big ol' hug. I just picture a big ol' hug, and I'm so excited. And I love being near the water. And I'll never forget the only time I've ever flown into Boston. Um, they flew in like right over the water, over the harbor, and I always get a window seat because I'm like one of those looky-loos. If I was a dog, I'd have if they had the window down, my head would be out the window of the airplane. And I saw we were like 2.5 feet above the water the whole time. Is he gonna ditch us? Like, I still have 9/11, nightmares. Like, is he gonna like ditch us in the harbor? I thought, well, okay, now let's just stop and think. We're only 2.5 feet above the water, so if he ditches us, we can get out fast enough. It'll be okay. The exit is here. That's my experience with Boston Harbor, so I need to replace this with a whole lot more fun with you guys. That was bad. So I'm super excited to go to Boston with all of you. And what I'm really excited about is that this gives us something to focus on the horizon that provides a roadmap for building our teams, for building our businesses. And we haven't had this in a while. We've had onesie twosie types of things, but to have a goal like that will cause us to be more creative and more willing to ask good questions like, why haven't I sponsored more in the past? And so that's what we're going to talk about today. And a whole lot over the next month is sponsoring, because what I'm realizing is that we can sell our butts off. We just really can. You guys can sell whatever you want, and I've seen you do it. But when it comes to sponsoring, there's like this freeze. Oh my gosh, I'm frozen. I just can't do it. Oh my gosh, right? You're all nodding your heads, and I know it's true because I'm in your head. You didn't know that, did you? So let me ask this question. Why don't you sponsor? Just popcorn. Don't give me like your personal guts and stuff. Just like give me a quick answer. Why do you think you don't sponsor? Or why doesn't somebody else sponsor? Why wouldn't somebody else sponsor?
It's awkward.
Awkward.
I feel like I don't know enough yet.
Okay.
Fear
Fear
of
of what?
hearing no, fear that they'll laugh at your face, fear
Okay.
that you're going to fail them as their leader.
Ah,
Not
so I
asking
won't
the
be
right
good.
questions. Fear not asking the right questions. Talk too much.
Talk too much.
Get
Okay.
overexcited.
Okay. It's a lot of fear. I'm hearing a lot of different kinds of fears. What else?
No patience,
No patience for
dragging people.
dragging. Yep. So you figure you don't want anybody. Okay.
I'm kind of stuck right now because for me, I don't have time. I
Right.
mean, I didn't do well last month, but it's been nonstop, but I still can pull out my numbers. I can do things, but I don't have time for you to tell me that you can't do this or just call me at the last minute when you can't figure out one question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what about the rest of the month? I don't know. That's where I am right now. So sponsoring for me is kind of like,
So what are you saying? You just simply don't want to?
I don't know. Because I don't know that I have the patience I have to find somebody who actually wants to do it and have fun with it.
So what if I told you that the only ones, this is just a little parenthesis. This is not where we're going today, but a parenthesis, Wendy, to change your frame of reference. What if I told you that it's never our responsibility to drag anybody anywhere? And that we can literally turn them around and say, you know what, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you would just really have fun being a hostess and a customer again.
Mhm.
Right. And that can be after 6 weeks. It doesn't have to be down the road after the frustration has kicked in. That is a fair thing to do because you own your business. You are the CEO of your business. You can decide how to run your business. And
Right.
if it means helping people to see where their place is with Touchstone Crystal and where it isn't, so that you're healthy and they're healthy, that's really important.
Mhm.
And I would rather have that consultant who gave it a little try and just didn't work. I'd rather have her resign and go to a really good party with her and see her friends.
I agree.
Right. Yeah.
I'm going to add on to the time piece though.
Mhm.
The time to actually have to properly train somebody.
how much time do you feel like that would take?
I don't know. I feel like the people that I've trained so far, while I feel like I've done a good job training them,
Mhm.
and I've support my support system to help train, i.e. you, Patricia, the rest of our team.
Mhm.
Out of my 4 people, I only have one of them that's actually doing anything. And I have somebody who's supposedly signing up today. It's
Mhm.
10:25, so she should be getting home shortly from her
Mhm.
bus routes signing up. But I'm like, okay, now I got to figure out in the midst of everything else that I have going on to train
Mhm.
her properly so that out of my now 5 people,
Mhm.
she's actually set up for success.
Okay. Okay. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that is something that we'll be working on over the next couple of weeks, is how do you train a new consultant properly? Because it makes it sound like we got to do a whole lot of stuff with her, when in reality, we're providing a framework, but she's driving it.
Right.
She's
And
driving
and I
it.
just and I think that's in general, and honestly, and it's one of the things that her and I talked about last night,
Mhm.
because we talked about the training piece, and I mentioned, and I think it's really important for all of us to remember this, is that we're not in this by ourselves, and that's one of the points that I kind of like tried to hammer home when we were talking, is that we are not doing this in a vacuum, we're not doing this in a bubble, that
Mhm.
we are doing this with the support of all of us. And I know that I tend to forget that sometimes. And in saying that to her last night, it was like, yeah, no, I'm really not doing this by myself. I have this entire amazing group of women that I'm surrounded by that are here to support me, to train me, to teach me, to learn from, to bounce ideas off of. And that's basically what I said to her last night. So yes, while I'm like, okay, I'm looking at my calendar and it's scaring me. It's and I literally said this to her, that's the point, is that we're not doing this by ourselves, and we do have this group of people that we can lean on. So
And get ideas from and all that. Mhm. I think one of the most important components about starting new consultants strong is that it's all on the job training. And we want to show them how to get those first parties booked. We want to show them how to host coach those parties really well, as if we were host coaching them ourselves. And that's how they learn and grow. If they don't learn and grow from that, then this isn't for them. And that's okay. And we're not going to drag them after that. And we don't have to feel guilty. We're not mothers who didn't raise their children well. It's not like that at all. This is a business. We're giving women an opportunity to try something really special and exciting. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. It doesn't work out. Then we could just say, let's just put you back in as a hostess. That's a whole lot more fun for you, probably, right? And then we can bless and release and put her back in a different slot within our Touchstone Crystal world. Does that make sense? I want you to decide that the desire for a trip like Boston or any other incentive trip is greater than your fears of, I don't have enough time to sponsor, I don't want to drag anybody, I don't know enough, I'm going to fail, I don't have any patience, I'm going to talk too much, all those kinds of things. Somehow there's got to be a little willingness in your heart to get past those concerns and say, you know what, there are people who are really busy who are sponsoring. I wonder how they do it. I wonder how they do it. What thing can I learn that'll help me to do it too? Okay, so that's super important. Okay, so let me start from question number 2. What is a simple phrase that you can use at any time to bring up the business with somebody that you're talking to? And I'm talking about you're talking to a customer. Maybe you are with her on Zoom. Maybe she's at a party in person. Maybe you're selling her jewelry somewhere. Maybe you're talking to your hostess. Can you think for 30 seconds, what's a comfortable way for you to ask her if she would be curious about doing the business? For me, it could be, I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. What I'm looking for is, I wonder if you'd want to come do this business with me. Or, you might really enjoy doing Touchstone since you love this so much. Or,
Really?
would you ever want to hear more about doing what I do? Because I think you'd be really good at it. Or, since you like all this so much and you want it all, why don't you just join the company? I've used all of those over time, but it's simply it's a simple question that I'm super comfortable with. Like, it doesn't bother me to ask it. I don't feel any attachment to the outcome. Like, my question is, what's that question for you? What's the thing that you can practice out loud and get used to saying liberally? And like for me, I say it in different ways depending on the situation and the person and what I'm observing and what her attitude is, like what her tone is. But the number one key is saying it, is asking it, is offering it liberally, constantly, all the time, in response to triggers, in response to just having that person in front of me and talking about the jewelry. And either I like her, or she's just all over the jewelry. She can't get enough, or she loves the new line, or she's my hostess. My hostess, we always want to ask, right? Because that's our warmest group. What's that question? Or what are those questions that you might just throw out there just to get the cover? All you're trying to do is get a conversation started. Anybody have one or a couple?
You mean like to start the conversation about the business?
Yeah.
I think lately I've been kind of mentioning, is there something more you're looking for? And going back to the whole like more jewelry, more girl time, more gaining more confidence, maybe down the road doing some more travel. And that's kind of the way that I've been, or even asking, do you know of someone that loves sparkle and is looking for something more?
Okay. Who else?
It's a struggle, Betsy.
Mhm. Why do you think that is?
And why I'm struggling is it
Mm.
seems like the people that I thought would do really well ended up not doing well, or they quit, and then they took all the customers that I had, or like for some reason they ended up with some of mine,
Mhm.
and then now I feel like I've lost all these customers. So I'm leery to recruit somebody that is like in my VIP group or in my bubble, because they could take some of my customers with them, and then I seem to have just lost them.
Mhm. Okay.
That's my biggest struggle and why I'm nervous to have anybody join me again.
But aren't you always bringing in more customers with every party? So I don't understand why you would feel like you're gonna lose somebody if you're already always like.
Well, like my best customers, I've lost my best customers. Like I had a customer that bought stuff every single month that she ended up in my sister's VIP group. And then my sister ended up quitting, and then now I've lost my best customer.
You can't get her
Yeah.
back?
You're back.
Yeah, you
And
can't,
she's with my sister.
but your sister's
I
not
don't
doing
know.
it anymore. You can let
I
your friend know, my sister decided she didn't think this was right for her. I value you as a customer and a friend. Here's my VIP group, if you'd like to join with, I'm not going anywhere. I mean,
Right.
I had another consultant who she told me that she was quitting. She has not. But I reached out to her sister, who was also a really good customer of mine that I met first, and was like, hey, so your sister told me that she doesn't want to do this anymore. And I know I haven't talked to you in like 2 years, but I really miss you. And I hope that you're doing well. And if you if you still want to, look at the jewelry, I'm happy to share with you and, send you a catalog, or you can join my VIP group, or yada, yada, yada. And we can still keep in touch. And she's like, oh, that's so sweet. And I mean, she never thought that I was like trying to, bombard her with selling or anything like that. It was just, hey, I heard your sister's, or my sister is no longer doing this anymore. I don't want to lose you as my friend and my customer. So I value you. Everybody wants to feel significant and special. So that's just, a nice little gesture just to like reach out to her one-on-one. And I don't think your sister's going to be ticked off that you're reaching out to this person.
No, I know that. And I've tried these things and I don't understand. Like, I just don't understand why it's happening. It's weird. But that's my biggest fear. And like, I know what to do, but that doesn't help me with me being scared, because like, I know that I can reach out to her. I have reached out to her, but it has made me very leery about who I would want to approach to become like friend wise or in my group to sell. That's just honest.
Because you're worried about all those customers just simply going away because you would have sponsored so many people.
Right.
Yeah, and that's where a solid party count, where we're going to meet a lot of new people, gives us that fresh. It feels like when you're thinking about a stagnant pond versus a pond that is healthy and has fresh water flowing into it. If you've got a stagnant pond, it happens to all of us, but at various times, when you have a stagnant pond, you don't have anything to give. There's nothing to give. Nobody would want it, right? And it's certainly not. You don't want there's no life in it, right? But when you have a lot of parties, enough parties, and Terry was saying last night on our call, pretty much 4 really good parties a month will give you enough new customers that you will have met, that you've got that fresh infusion of people that you can be talking to. So I'm not saying go back to always go. It's not always about, and especially for this trip and for this month, it's not always about going backwards to all the people that you're already selling to. Let's think forward about, who am I meeting this week in my parties that I can offer this to, or who have I met in the last 2 weeks that I can be going back to and thanking and happy about their excitement and offering to them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what I need to do is like, one thing that I'm not good at is getting people like in a party, getting people to book a party from a party. I struggle with that. If I did a better job, I'd have more people that wouldn't be like the customers that buy from me all the time. I wouldn't be taking them.
Right.
What I need to do, because I don't want to take a good customer and lose a good customer.
Lose a good customer to what?
Well, that's what's happened in the past. Like what I mean, like say one of my really good customers ends up being a consultant, and then now they're not in either.
And that's why. So let's think about it just quickly here. Let's say you're going to meet 20 new customers over this month. And the goal is to systematically spend enough time with each one of them, even if it's a text message exchange at worst case, about their jewelry. And hey, why don't you think about doing what we do? There's a whole lot of free jewelry involved, right? To every single one of them. It's not affecting your VIP group.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, we don't know what she needs and what she wants. What if nobody had offered this to you, Chantel? Right. What if whoever sponsored you said, think about it. What if the person who sponsored you, Chantel, said, I don't want to share her with anybody, so I'm not going to tell her about the business. Right? What if Patricia had done that? And so we have to remember that if you make it about yourself, it's always going to stay stagnant. If you make it about others and helping them get what they want and showing them what's possible, yes, we're going to have hiccups. Yes, we're going to people steal customers from us. Yes, that is sometimes going to happen. But if we're doing it right, if we have enough fresh people coming in, the good news is we're talking to fresh people all month long about the business. And we're bringing in people onto our teams who are new and excited and fresh with Touchstone Crystal and their
Mhm.
experience. Okay.
So can I mention something?
Yeah.
So last night I did my first ever host appreciation event. I did a Blingo night. And I invited 48 people from when I first started in June of 2020. And I had RSVPs from 10 and only 3 showed up.
Mhm.
The 3 people that showed up were 3 of my best customers, and people that I have said, we've joked about, at some point, I know you're gonna come to the dark side. You're gonna come join me. We've joked about it before, but they really are. They're 3 of my best customers. The 3 of them order almost every month, if not, or at least every other month. And when they order, they're ordering well over $100 worth of stuff, and they're the most active in my VIP group. So it was kind of cool that it was 3, and the 3 of them didn't know each other. And it was kind of cool that it was the 3 of them that were, on my Zoom last night. And so I did like little commercial breaks in between our games. And one of my commercial breaks was, hey, I just got off this big family call and we've got this Boston trip. And I'm not telling you this because I want you to come. Obviously, I want you to come. We can go to Boston together anytime. Obviously, we're all in New England. However, I mentioned this because the part that was exciting was that, we get to be with our Sparkle sisters. And I said, I was never one of those people that was all like, rah, rah, yay, my Sparkle sisters, I need a whole new group of friends. But it was one of those really unexpected, things for me that kind of came out of, being part of Touchstone. And I said, and I love the fact that it's the 3 of you that are on here because I know how much you love, I'm a cheer mom. Thanks, Marissa. But I know how much, you love the product and you love the jewelry. And I said, and honestly, that's why I started doing this in the first place, because I love it too. And I clearly you enjoy it. I said, so I'm here for you. If you've ever even thought for like a second in all the conversations that we've had since we've known each other, that maybe, just maybe, you'd want to try it. Let's talk about it. So it's like I've planted the seeds with them, a couple times. And of course, none of the 3 of them were like, me, I don't think any of them were going to do that right then and there. Will I do some sort of follow-up with them? Yes. Do I think that any of the 3 of them are ready to do this? No, not even a little bit, because I know a little bit about all of their lives, from getting to know them. And these are people that I've never met personally. I met them from doing parties of parties of parties. They were friends of friends of friends. Do I think that at some point one of the 3 of them might be like, yeah, I'm ready to bring it on? Yeah. And then they could end up becoming one of my teammates and not my best customer anymore. But I'm not going to get myself stuck in that mindset of, okay, number one, I need to hook them. I need to keep
Right.
following up with them. I need to keep talking to them about it, because I don't want to turn them off. And I want to just keep planting those little seeds, because me pushing anybody isn't gonna make them do this. And I want people to be on my team that want to do this. I want them to kind of come to it on their own and be like, you know what, all these things that Amy has been saying to me, they're starting to make sense. They're starting to make sense. They're starting to click. I think I want to try this, and hopefully by me saying this stuff in my VIP group enough, by me saying this to them enough times, and planting those different seeds with them, maybe, just maybe, they'll be like, oh, I finally see myself in this. And maybe they're just going to stay an awesome customer, and that's it. And that's okay too. But I think the planting the seeds is really important. And the not having the expectation, because I think especially with the idea that, we want to grow our teams and we want to sponsor, and then putting that pressure on ourselves, that can be really overwhelming. I need to hit this goal. I need to hit this goal. And oh my God, I need to get these people to sign up. Well, it's going to be a process. Most of the people that you're going to meet aren't going to be instantaneously like, go team, yay, rah. Where's the dotted line? And most people, it's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of seed planting. And I need to remind myself of that a lot of times too, that for most people, this is not going to necessarily be an overnight process, and that we need to have grace and patience with ourselves, and to not put that, and to remove that piece of the pressure sometimes with some of these sponsoring conversations that we're having.
Well, I think what's really important is that we remove the pressure and we turn it into a system. And you brought up a really good point, Amy, that, you reminded me that our joy about what we're doing is contagious. Nobody can take away our experience. They can argue about Touchstone, they can argue about direct selling, they can argue about whatever they want to, but they can't argue about your experience. Okay, bye, Marisa, love you. They can't argue that. And so, but we can take that pressure off and turn it into a system. That's why I want us thinking about how am I offering this to people? What is the question that I'm asking, so that I'm comfortable enough every single time to bring it up. Just simply try to start the conversation with somebody about this, because it comes out of joy of what I'm doing, and it comes out of excitement for them of what's possible for them. Because if I don't say it, they'll never know. If I don't bring up the topic, they're never going to know. Forgetting about the fears, we still need to bring up the topic. And are you going to get it right all the time? No. Are they going to sign all the time? No. In fact, most of the time they're not going to, but you got to plant that seed, as Amy was saying. Are they going to sign right away? On occasion, yes. But usually it's a conversation. And so I wanted to show you something. I'm going to share my screen. And this is a document that is in Glam Central. Where'd you go? I had it pulled up and then it logged me out. So I'm going to log in. And I'm going to resources. No, I'm going to training and tools, business basics. And I'm going down to sponsoring. So I'm going to show you where this document is. The sponsoring process map. Come on.
Sponsoring.
All right. Can you see this?
Sponsor map.
So this is really kind of simple, because so you generate interest with the question, right? Would you ever think about doing something like what I do? And if you get a maybe, or I don't know, maybe, probably not, but maybe, then you can give her all kinds of things. You can show her the starter kit. You can show her the opportunity video. You can invite her to a conversation. And that could be with you and your sponsor. It could be one of the opportunity calls. It could be our Wednesday night call that we're doing on Facebook on the Tell Me, the Fall in Love with TC. Or you can just have a one-on-one conversation with her. And then the cool thing is that you just release the outcome. And now we do have sponsoring conversation outline. So let me show you where that is. So that's another document that's in the same section. And the goal is just to see if it's a good fit. It's never to talk her into anything. It's just to find, it's just like a digging kind of thing to see where she might be about this. Maybe we don't know enough about her and we're kind of finding out what she's all about. What is it that she likes about Touchstone Crystal? If she was to think about doing something like this, why would she be, what would be fun about it for her, right? And to get her talking about it a little bit more. The key though, is starting those conversations, knowing that this could literally be the thing that changes her life. So many stories I know of where that top leader said no 3 or 4 or 5 times when her consultant just kept dropping seeds, kept asking, is the time right? Is the time right? I believe in you. I really think you could do this, right? It's okay. I mean, I have people that I say that to. I really wish you'd come and do this with me. That's a nice thing to say to a person. That's not a bad thing to say to a person. And I don't know if she's going to be good or not. I don't. But it's a law of averages. And Amy, you said I have 4 and 1 is working. If you haven't sponsored in a while, that is a normal number. That is a very normal percentage. So don't be hard on yourself. That is an actual national percentage. So that's okay. That is a normal
And I
thing.
will say that the 3 people that I have that aren't working for various reasons,
Mhm.
it's not because I'm not giving them tools, I'm not giving them support or any of that stuff. Maybe the timing is just not good for them, and that's okay. And I do tell them that, that's okay. I don't want anyone to ever feel like if they sign up and do this, that that they're stuck with it. No one's ever stuck with anything. And the other 3 people that are on my team that, as I said, are currently not doing anything, it's okay. And maybe in a month from now or 2 months from now, they'll decide, okay, bring it on. I'm ready. And if they say that, I'm here. How can I help? Like that New Amsterdam show. How can I help? Or if they say to me in 2 or 3 months from now, you know what, Amy, I gave it some thought and I need to step away. Okay, I'm really, really happy that I got to have this connection with you for the amount of time that I had the connection with you. And I'm here whenever you need me. Just because you're not still going to be on my team anymore, it doesn't mean that you mean any less to me than you did before.
Right.
And sometimes it really is just going to be all about timing, and that's okay.
So one thought is that for those of you with team members, you can share with them the $600, close $600 in sales this month or before the 10th and get that $100 product certificate. For some people who are hobbyists, that is a good shot in the arm and it will get them to do something. Oh, I got people out there who have some orders. Maybe I can just piece them all together and I can get all this jewelry for myself, right? Because I'm self-hosting by the 10th. Y'all can use the video that I posted yesterday. I'll post it again so that you can see it, and you can use that if you want to. But the last thing I want to talk about, and we're going to do sponsoring conversations on Saturday, but the last thing I want to talk about is right now, what are the different variations of what's free, what's going to be for free? So we've got an incentive that says sponsor somebody this month, and when she sells $600 in her first full month, which is by the end of March, she's going to get a $250 product certificate, and so are you. Now, what if she sells it by the 10th? What if she comes in today and she sells it by the 10th? Or what if she started in January and she sells it by the 10th? She's going to get her $250. She's going to get $100 additional from the special incentive, and she's going to get her host rewards. So she'll get $300 plus $250 plus $100 for $650 in jewelry, just for submitting her own $600 party by the 10th. So if you have somebody who joined in January, or you have somebody who's joining starting today, this is something to consider. But regardless, she's got $250 in jewelry coming to her on top of those host rewards. So let's say to somebody, girl, if you start this month and you just do $1,000 launch party, you're going to get $850 in free jewelry, plus $250 from the Glam Plan, for a total of $1,100 in jewelry and 70% off everything in the catalog. So join this month, do your own $1,000 launch party, get $1,100 in jewelry. Did I do that math right?
What is it?
Did I do that math right? She gets $250 plus $600 from the host rewards, plus another $250. Yeah, that's $1,100 that she
Yeah.
gets with that $1,000 party.
What's the second 250, Betsy?
So
Yes.
the sponsoring incentive is as soon as she sells a $600,
Right,
she gets $250.
right.
As a Glambassador, she gets $250,
Oh, got it.
and her host rewards would be $600. So
Okay.
that new Glambassador this month is going to get $1,100 in jewelry. And so if somebody, you can present that to anybody. Why don't you think about doing this? If you came in and sold $1,000 this month, you get $1,100 in jewelry, plus what's in your starter kit. I mean, a simple statement, it gets her thinking. Simple statement gets her thinking. If she does it by the 10th, then it's $1,200. because there's so many layers to what's available to her right now as a new consultant, right? But we got to keep the messaging really simple. You know, I've been thinking about you. I know you want so much jewelry. I just had a crazy thought. What if you joined this month and just did $1,000 party with your friends? You get $1,100 in jewelry for yourself, right? So something to think about. And I want you to be thinking also, this is your homework. What is the question that I can use, or what are the types of questions that I can get comfortable with saying to my customers who are new? Don't worry about the people that you've already been working with. Don't worry about it. Let's talk about the new ones you're going to meet this month, because they're the fresh people with fresh eyes on what is in front of them.
Can you post the verbiage that you were reading from earlier, Betsy?
Yep.
Yes, please.
The verbiage, you mean the questions that I was coming up with?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I will. I'll post those. Yeah. In fact, when I post this recording, I'll go ahead and post what I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. All right,
Thank you.
ladies. I love you. Yes. And I've got to go. I have an 11 o'clock with somebody, but go ahead, Kathy.
Can you post the breakdown too of what you said on the party?
Yes. Okay. I'll do that too. Thank you. Yeah. Great. Great idea. I'll do exactly that. Great. I'll
Right.
do that after I
I
finish
will-
this 11 o'clock call.
I'll reach out to Katie per our conversation.
Okay. All right, ladies. Love you all. Thank you for being on. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you in
Yeah.
person. All right. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Yeah.
All right.
Keep me posted,
Bye.
Wendy, on what she says. Okay. All
All
right.
right, thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.